Netflix on English.
Hello, this is a Netflix on English podcast. I'm Leon.
And I'm Gary.
And together we Netflix on English. Or, in other words, talk about the vocabulary from the latest films and series on streaming platforms.
In each episode, we tell you the story of main characters from a series or a film, using just a few key expressions from it.
A quick background check. Both of us are English teachers and English learners. I'm Roshan.
And I'm Australian. And we just love watching films and series.
So today, we discuss one of our favorites this year, Bridgerton, a smash hit from Netflix that became its most watched series earlier this year.
For those of you who don't know, Bridgerton is a period drama set in the early 19th century city of London. It tells the story of 4 brothers and 4 sisters from the powerful Bridgerton family. Some of them try to find their life's purpose.
And some love. The last is especially true for Daphne Bridgerton, the eldest daughter of the family.
Oh yes, we meet Daphne in episode 1 when she makes her debut in front of Queen Charlotte.
But that wasn't an acting or singing debut.
No, it wasn't. When the young lady made her debut back then, it meant that she was presented to an upper-class circle of society for the first time, and especially to the monarch.
And that would make her a debutante, a young woman from an influential family who was old enough to enter society and look for a potential husband. Guess that's what they still do at those toddlers' debutantes balls.
Probably. So debutantes made their debuts during the social season.
I'm wondering if it was in spring or summer.
Well, according to the Peerage Guide to Brett's, the traditional social season ran from April to August.
Was the social season the time when you could party like a Russian?
Well, the main idea was not just to have fun. During the social season, or just the season, young members of high society could meet and find their match at social events like balls.
Oh, dating in the 19th century. Way before you could just see a profile on a dating app and swipe left or right.
Yes, it must have been hard. So, if you remember, Daphne was the most promising debutante of the season.
Yes, according to the Queen herself and to the infamous gossip columnist, Lady Whistledown.
Correct. Let's remember exactly what she wrote about Daphne in her newsletter.
Well, at least she has one thing right. She is named Daphne as the season's incomparable. She calls you a diamond of the first water. Oh, how lovely.
She called her a diamond of the first water. Guess that was the best compliment you could give to the most beautiful debutantes.
That's true. But do you know the origins of this expression?
I'm not sure. I suppose it has something to do with the properties of diamonds. Well, Gary, since you also teach chemistry, I bet you could enlighten us.
Of course, you just have to ask. A diamond of the first water is considered to be so pure and transparent, or colourless, that it looks like clearest water. So the more the diamond is like water, the higher its quality.
Whoa, someone has definitely done his homework.
And as usual, that wasn't you.
All right, that is definitely something worth knowing. Going back to Bridgerton. Proclaimed a diamond of the first water, Daphne now has great prospects of finding a husband. Or so she thought.
But her older brother, Anthony, definitely thinks otherwise. He hates every potential suitor for his sister and dismisses them completely.
And that really puts Daphne's marriage prospects at risk. So she decides to get some help from an unlikely source.
Which ironically turns out to be Anthony's old friend Simon, who she meets at Lady Danbury's ball.
And that encounter hasn't gone unnoticed by Lady Whistledown, who made it a central topic of her next column.
The illustrious debutante was seen dancing not once, but twice with the season's most eligible and most uncatchable rake, the Duke of Hastings.
So it looks like Simon holds not one, but 2 titles at once. He's the Duke of Hastings. Leo, do you know what dukes are? Or your history knowledge is as bad as your chemistry?
Well, I'm not as hopeless as you might think. I know that the Duke is the highest nobility title in England, below a king. Guess back then they were like Regency oligarchs with rich and powerful families.
Wow, you finally put your Googling skills to good use. But you are quite right. In fact, members of the royal family can also be dukes and duchesses. Like today, Prince William and Kate are the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge.
Oh yes, those are the titles which would be a shame to lose. Anyway, as you mentioned, Lady Whistledown, also called Simon a rake?
Yes, a rake would be a man, usually rich or with a high social position, who lives in an immoral way. Rakes would date a lot of women, gamble, and throw decadent parties.
That sounds like an accurate description of Hugh Hefner. Guess now they would rather call Simon a playboy.
Or perhaps a womanizer. Anyway, as you remember, Daphne and Simon decided to pretend they have a relationship.
Yes, that way it would look like he's taken, and thus the debutantes and their mothers would stop following him.
Daphne, on the other hand, would again have the attention of potential suitors.
So it was a mutual benefit. However, later it turns out that there is more between Daphne and Simon than just a ruse.
Oh yes, towards the end, the fake relationship becomes a real one.
It also came with very real problems for Daphne and Simon. But let's not go any further here, but rather recap the vocabulary.
All right, let's start with debutante. That is a young woman from an upper-class family who is old enough to be introduced to high society and find a husband.
They would make their debuts during the social season, the time of the year to hold social events like parties or balls.
You would call a really beautiful young woman diamond of the first water.
And a man with the highest nobility title in England below a king, a duke.
Some dukes can be real rakes. Those are the men famous for their immoral ways like womanizing, gambling and partying.
That's it. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast to hear us Netflixing on English from other series.
That's all for now. So, from Gary
and Leo,
thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.